This is the Sony 200-600mm G lens, and here's almost every single animal I've shot with this beast of a lens this year. So for context, about this time last year, my wife and I decided that we'd start getting more serious about wildlife photography. We have A7V to 200 already, but 200mm, as you may know, is not quite enough reach. So we walked into a camera store randomly one day, saw a used version of this lens, and well, it's probably been the most enjoyable year of photography that I've ever had since picking up a camera. It sort of came at a time when I was feeling a little bit jaded by my day job, filming kind of like talking heads and doing headshots and portraits, that sort of thing. And this lens and getting into wildlife photography has just made me fall in love with it all over again. So I thought I should make a video, like a review or a long-term owner's experience, to help you decide whether this is a lens that you might consider purchasing for yourself as well. Now, as always, this is not going to be a super scientific review breakdown. This is literally just coming from my own personal experience, having used this lens dozens and dozens of times this year. So let's get stuck in. Now, I think price is probably the best way to start this, because I think when most people think wildlife photography, you think money, which is true. It can be a very expensive hobby to get into. That being said, we bought this used for around £1,400. I think it was 1,400, wasn't it? £1,400. Prices have also really come down on this particular model. I see them as low as just over £1,000 now. So if you don't mind going the used route, this is absolutely the way that I would go about it. And as we'll talk about later on, they are built like absolute tanks, so don't feel put off buying a secondhand one. Of course, the big selling point is this amazing reach of 200 to 600mm. I found that because it covers such a huge range, the lens is actually incredibly versatile. It's obviously designed for wildlife and birds, and also for sports photography as well. And with that reach, you're able to get that great mix of more environmentally contextual shots, as well as pushing in and getting more of those like detailed close-ups as well. Not only that, but on the A7IV, you're able to use the crop sensor mode to get an effective focal length of 300 to 900mm. Not to mention that you can throw on 1.4 or even 2 times teleconverters as well to get even more reach. Although FYI, I prefer not to use them as they do affect the image and focusing. A future video coming out on this soon. So it's a really versatile lens that gives you a lot of flexibility in the types of shots you're able to get. And going back to price, if you were to pick one up closer to that £1,000 range, then like bang for buck or reach for reach, this lens provides really incredible value from that point of view. The max aperture is f5.6 going down to f6.3 at 600mm, but when you couple the aperture with these kind of focal lengths, don't worry, you're able to really obliterate those backgrounds and get that amazing bokeh and blow backgrounds and really isolate your subjects. And this lens does that fantastically well. The only issue here is that at f6.3, that's obviously not the brightest lens, so it is trickier shooting in low light conditions. This lens really does prefer like bright sunny days to get the best image quality possible. That being said, if you are pairing this with a modern Sony body like the A7IV, you can really push the ISO a surprising amount, and with the noising software, you can get amazing results. We shot badgers in very low light. We shot these tawny owls with the shutter speed at like 1/50. We also shot video with the FX3, and as you can see, you can still get some really great results if you don't mind tinkering in post. The actual optical performance of the lens itself, I mean, I think the images kind of just speak for themselves really. The center sharpness is just fantastic, and it's very consistent throughout the zoom range. I do notice that it's a little bit softer in the corners, but unless you're really trying to fill out the frame with like a close-up animal portrait or something like that, it's not something that really stands out to me, but you know, your mileage may vary. In terms of things like color fringing or vignetting, distortion, etc., for me, I don't really see any big major issues here at all. It's all very well controlled, and at a minimum, as you'd expect from a Sony first-party lens. The only thing I've noticed with this lens is that in very hot and humid weather conditions, and at like 600mm, you do get this kind of heat haze look that makes your images not very sharp. I noticed this in the summer when we went to look for some white-tailed eagles on a boat, and I don't know if it was the mixture of the bright hot day and the the moisture in the air from the sea, but it made getting a clean shot really difficult, particularly when the subject is so far away. Moving on to the autofocus, again, it's what you'd expect from a premium first-party Sony lens. It's incredible. It's silent, it's super accurate, it has optical steady shot as well, so you get that image stabilization built in, which makes shooting handheld surprisingly a lot easier than you'd expect, and also helps a ton when shooting video footage as well. For very fast moving subjects, i.e. like birds in flight, etc., you're able to get fantastic shots like this. And those times when I've missed a shot, I feel like it's more to do with my own mistakes and reactions rather than issues with the lens itself. But when you're tracking a bird, for example, and you have it locked on and you have it in high burst mode, you're pretty much guaranteed a good number of those shots to be in focus. Utilizing Sony's animal and bird eye tracking makes shooting wildlife an absolute breeze for the most part. And when your subject is still or not moving too fast, you're pretty much guaranteed sharp and in focus shots. There have been a few instances when a bird is like on a branch or something, and if there is a very big prominent branch in the foreground, it can take sometimes a while for like the camera to figure out exactly that there's a bird in the frame. But usually this can be helped by just choosing the correct setting on the focus limiter switch, and in a few rare instances I've just switched to like manual focus as well. But on a couple of occasions I have missed the moment and the bird flew away, but this has been a fairly rare occurrence. Right, let's talk about the build quality next, because as I mentioned, this is an absolute unit of a lens. It's super solid, it's weather sealed. I've been to like Iceland with this thing on a boat in the rain shooting whales, and I had like zero issues with it. I feel confident that I could take this lens with me on any kind of shooting situation, and it'd probably survive longer than I would probably. I did pick up this lens cover for it, which helps keep rain and dust out as well as protect from scratches. But even without it, I feel like this is a lens that could last you a lifetime if you took good care of it. I do also love the fact that it has an internal zoom, so when you're zooming in and out, the lens doesn't extend, and the zoom ring itself has a very short throw from 200 to 600, so you can punch in and out very quickly. The actual focus and zoom rings, they feel lovely and grippy. All the buttons feel really high quality. The other thing to factor in, of course, is the weight of 2.1 kilograms. Now, that's not what I'd call unreasonably heavy, and I'm fine to use this handheld, but when you're walking like, you know, 10, 15, 20K looking for wildlife and you're lugging this around, you'll definitely feel it in your arms, you'll have pain in your shoulders and back too. But hey, you'll get big biceps from carrying this lens around. I would recommend something like this for longer adventures. Its size makes it a little bit awkward in terms of it not really fitting in most camera bags too, so you're gonna have to bear that in mind as well. So overall, has this lens been worth it? Now, I think for me, now hear me out, this lens has been a better value buy for me than this has, or this has, or this has. Why, you may ask? Because personally, I have gotten probably hundreds of hours of use out of this lens compared to any of the other lenses that I've shot with this year. I've shot more photos, more video, and I've actually shared and posted more content with this lens than any other lens. And strictly from a time spent and time used and results managed with this lens, it's been an absolute bargain for me. So is it a good lens? Unquestionably, for what you get and the range it gives you. The fact that it can be had for closer to £1,000 these days, it's really hard not to recommend it. So if you are on Sony and you're looking to get your first proper wildlife lens, it's very hard to look at any other lens. Now, there is the newer 400 to 800 lens. I am actually hoping to pick one of those up for myself soon, but it is quite a bit more expensive. It's also bigger and heavier, and then there's also the prime lenses that offer f4, and I think these are priced a little bit too high for most people, myself included. So really, I think the 200 to 600 is kind of like the default safe first choice for most people, and whilst it does have a few flaws overall, it is a fantastic bit of kit and one that's going to be in my kit bag for a while to come. Even when I have the 400 to 800, I'm still going to have the 200 to 600 as well. So yeah, I absolutely love it. I really do love this lens. It's probably, you know, my favorite lens, and the lens that's made me fall in love with photography. Again, it helped me get this photo, and yeah, I can't speak highly enough of it. It's just a fantastic lens. So what do you think? Do you own this lens? Do you own another wildlife centric lens? Let me know down there in the comments section below. Anyway, thank you so much for reaching the end of this video. If you made it this far, do all the things that the YouTube algorithm likes, so like the video, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. You can also follow us on Instagram down here, and yeah, any other comments, just leave them down there in the comment section below, and me and Pixie will see you later. Bye, say bye, Pixie. Bye bye. She doesn't want to be held right now, so yeah, bye.